Well, there's a national conversation going on about gun rights, and joining us today, Keith Morgan with the West Virginia Citizens Defense League. Keith, you live here in Charleston, and thanks so much for being with us.
Glad to be here.
Well, Keith, America is really just in the beginning stages of a long overdue debate and conversation about the place of guns in our society. You're with the West Virginia Citizens Defense League. Tell me what it is you all stand for. What are you all trying to get done?
Well, we support firearms ownership and carrying of firearms for self-defense, lawful recreational shooting, and hunting. I have to take issue with the immediate premise that we've started out with, that it's a long overdue discussion. The discussion is as old as the country itself. The framers set everything up and settled that discussion pretty well with the wording and language of the Second Amendment, and just recently in the Heller and McDonald cases, the Supreme Court held that it is an individual right to keep and bear arms.
We'll start out with...
The discussion is settled.
No, it is not settled, and this country has not had a rational debate, because people start like, oh, well, we got to have guns.
I'm glad you used the term rational.
But let's talk. You can't tell me that AK-47s and some of these high action military with big clips, that's not what our founders had in mind.
Well, wait a minute.
Why would we?
I'm going to stop you right there.
All right.
Okay, I want you to go and read Federalist Papers number 46, where Madison, a Federalist, a proponent of a powerful central government, lays out the purpose for the Second Amendment. And his intent was that the citizenry be equally armed as a standing army.
So should we be able to have nuclear bombs?
Well, and you know, if you're going to talk about nuclear weapons and ridiculous arguments like that, we can terminate the interview, because I thought you said rational. You said rational, right?
Right, but you just said
nuclear weapons and
but your comment was that the intent of the papers was that everybody be equal to the government. But the truth of the matter is
the modern infantry soldier.
But that's not possible today. It's not possible that we can compete with this giant military machine. And what's interesting...
I'm not advocating that we should try.
Okay, but
let me talk about your argument. You're saying AK-47s and assault rifles. First off, you're using a media-coined misnomer called an assault rifle. An assault rifle is a fully automatic weapon, and those are extraordinarily difficult to keep in private hands.
But nevertheless have been used in some of these recent killings.
Oh, sure they have, and those are tragic. But I'm going to ask you a question.
Would you support getting rid of those to the public?
Absolutely not. And let me ask you a question. Do you support removing those from law enforcement? Now, the Kanawha County Sheriff's Department, West Virginia State Police are running around out here with AR-15s and 30-round magazines. Do you think they should have them?
I do think they should have them.
You do? Okay, well, they face the same threats we do. So why do you think they should have them and we should not?
Because I believe that our police and our military are trained to defend us and to protect this country. I don't think that I want every guy up and down the block going out thinking that he is, Rambo, and he's going out to save the country. Okay. I mean, I just don't think that's the irrational part of this conversation.
You are making an unfair and frankly offensive accusation that people who own rifles with 30-round magazines think they're Rambo. Because I can take you just up the street here and we can go talk to some MDs. They're pretty sure that they are not Rambo. They're citizens, they're professionals, they're doctors and lawyers, and yes, even people in the media who own these firearms.
But what's the purpose?
What's the purpose? The purpose is self-defense. That's the same purpose for law enforcement.
Who is it you're defending yourself from?
Who is it the law enforcement defends themselves from? No, there is a criminal element in our society. But do you disagree?
Law enforcement has a responsibility to track down, capture, and in some cases defend The citizens don't have that.
There's a misconception in society. Law enforcement, and the Supreme Court has held multiple times that law enforcement has no duty to defend you.
Well, I think you're up on a technicality. Law enforcement does, in fact.
They have no duty to defend you.
But the reality is
they have no duty to protect you.
The reality is they do.
No, the reality is they do not. I'm sorry. I don't know where you're getting your information.
Well, mine
comes from the Supreme
real
Court.
Life experience.
Mine comes from the Supreme Court of the United States, thus the law of the land.
You might notice on the police cars it says to protect. You know, to defend and protect.
Well, let me tell you, what it says on the side of the police car is at odds with what the Supreme Court of the United States. They have no duty to protect you. And anybody out there who believes they do, you better think again.
So, I mean, I want to get back to this. I don't understand what the need is for anybody, for a citizen, to have an AK-47, a grenade launcher, all of that kind of stuff. Why do you need that?
Why are you talking about grenade launchers?
Because that's a weapon. That's a gun.
Wait a minute.
The projectile it shoots is a grenade. It's a big bullet.
But I want to understand why you're talking about grenade launchers. Did we have some attacks by grenade launchers in the United States while I wasn't looking?
I'm talking about that when this Constitution.
You're bringing up red herrings for the interest and for the purpose of eliciting an emotional response, and it's a little weak in my opinion.
Well,
I thought we were going to have a rational discussion here.
Well,
rational discussion is about we're dealing with the same threats. We face the same burglars, the same criminals, the same murderers that law enforcement do, and you would have us hamstrung by limited capacity magazines. And the reality is, you really want to cause a problem in this state, or in this country, you go ahead and you outlaw assault weapons, because the United States can't keep people, human beings, from crossing our southern border. Now, when you go and you create a market for machine guns, you can bet they're going to flow. We're going to have problems we don't now, because there will be fully automatic weapons in the streets.
All right, Keith, if you could hang on for just a second, we need to take a quick break, and we'll come right back with more on Decision.